my name is Emilie and this is my home in Oslo, Norway. Come on in. When we bought this place, this was the living room, and the entrance for this room was actually behind where the oven is now. And when we remade the floor plan, we wanted to have a central kitchen that was kind of the heart of the home, where it would be easy to host and cook, and then also entertain. So this is one of my favorite rooms, and one of the rooms where we restored a bunch of the classical details in the home. So as you see in the ceilings, the ceiling height is quite tall, which is so nice. It gets like an airy, good feeling in here. And when we made the kitchen, we actually took down some of the original molding and then hid some of the cabinetry inside of the walls and then restored it back on here. So when we bought the home, it was in pretty poor condition. It hadn't been restored or really been taken care of for a long time. So we had to do some restoration of the original moldings and the ceilings to kind of give back that old feeling that this room had. We also found when we were doing the demo, the doors into this room were hidden inside of the wall. So it's probably been gone for 120 years. And when we opened it up, we could restore them, which kind of gave this room back its original floor plan. That's why it's one of my favorite rooms. And in terms of the actual kitchen itself, I wanted something that was light and then that we could have some stone in here that had a little bit more dramatic veins and a little bit more color. When we go through, you'll see some of the arches that we have in our home. This is one of my favorites. When we knew that we wanted to hide some of the cabinets inside the wall, we also knew that we could build this archway that would take up some of that space, and the original entrance to this room is behind this wall as well. So it's absolutely one of my favorite rooms. And I think for anyone designing a home, it's important to focus on the feeling that you get. And one of the biggest things that I think about is flooring and material use. So in this home, we have oak wood floors, and I'm the crazy person, like in a showroom, I'll take my shoes off, I'll take my socks off, and I'll like walk on the floor to feel it, because I think homes evoke a sense of feeling. You want to kind of touch the materials and the textiles, and kind of what makes a home holistic is like the mix of materials. So here we've used a lot of ash and oak throughout the flooring, and we've used a lot of the same type of stoneware and ceramic tiles, and then we've kind of continued the same brassware or finishes for all the sinks and the taps in all the rooms, just to kind of continue the same surface and the same material in every room. And that's a great tip if you're wanting to find kind of a red thread throughout your home. Try to repeat materials and use kind of the same overall finishes in every room. You can of course have variations, but use this kind of the same. And then for a kitchen and a bathroom, if I'm doing light ash or oak as we have here, do that and repeat it in the bathroom, so that it can be sisters or cousins, but it should be related. We've been living here for a year and a half. We did purchase the home 2 years ago, and we did the renovations quite suddenly. We were filming a TV show at the time, and we had a 10-day takeover from the moment we bought the home to when we started renovations, which typically is not how it goes. Usually you have at least 3 months just to make all the preparations. So the renovation process took a little bit longer because we needed to wait for materials to get in and everything, but we were renovating for 5-6 months and have lived here for a year and a half. I started my career working in the banking and financing world, so I don't really have an interior design degree as my original education. I did that after. Already been working for a few years, but it's a very creative field, and it's very fun to be able to play with all the mix of materials and different textures and color, and especially in your own home. I think my overall style and aesthetic is definitely classic, but I like to mix materials. I think a lot about how a home feels. I want it to be colorful and personal. So it's a mix of many different styles.
So how does doing interiors compare to, the job in the finance world?
I think my job today is very different than the job that I had previously. I think it's very flexible. Every day is different, and I really love that clients trust us in order to design their homes or offices, hotels, restaurants. It's very creative, so it's a big difference. Okay, so one of my favorite places in my home is this little bar right here. I wish it was bigger. I wish there was a sink here and a fridge. There isn't, because of space restrictions, but this is my coffee station. This is where we typically start the day. We make a coffee or a matcha, and yeah, I like to have a lot of different ceramics from all over the world. So here's a little collection of my favorite things. These are some antiques from many places, but mostly Japan. And yeah, some homemade pieces, some thrifted art, and cookbooks. So before we move into the next room, I wanted to show you this piece. I think sometimes I find stuff in the thrift shop or at an antiques market or that's been used before, and I really love it. This art piece was super inexpensive and I've just always loved it. I think combining original, maybe large scale oil paintings and original art with thrifted finds, it's kind of what curates the aesthetic or like your home. You don't have to have everything that's expensive or that's brand new or that's designer or anything like that. You can really just combine things and mix materials, and finding original old art is one of my favorite things to do.
So how much did it cost?
I think it was like $80 or something
okay.
like that.
Yeah,
which I think
good.
even the frame, that's like $80. So
yeah, true.
I think that's nice. That's a good find. I also have some pretty large scale photos. I want to always decorate with the intention of conversation as being like the leading kind of floor plan guider. I think a lot of people, when they design a home, they think about, oh my God, like where am I gonna have my TV? And we try to make it focused about conversation, having people over versus where the TV is. So for the central piece here, I wanted it to be an art piece. This is by a Norwegian artist called Lars Gangdal. And I fell in love with this piece. He made it for us, and I love it. It's a lot of colors, and I think if you're kind of curious about having color in your home, I think a lot of people have more neutral homes. Art is a great way to incorporate color, and you can have loads of color without it being super kind of overpowering. But for scale, it's pretty big. This is actually a bookshelf that we made from IKEA kitchen cabinets and Billy bookcases. So in our previous home, we had a quote to make a custom kind of bookshelf, and it was like $20,000, I think. And so we figured out we could do it ourselves, and we did. And so we did it again. And it's a great way to have storage and to have a nice way to show all your like weird items.
Weird items? What weird items have we got?
I think I've taken away some of my weird items, but
yeah, hiding them from us.
Yes. So I have a lot of things that I have inherited. This is a bowl that my grandfather made. He has a little wood workshop, so I have a lot of his pieces that we've either made together or that he's made. And then my grandmother, my late grandmother, she was probably the one person that I know that had like the most random and extra and extravagant things. And so from her, I have a lot of like cool little trinkets that, I don't know if they fit, but they fit in here, I think. So the sofa we've had, I think this is the third apartment we have it in. So we've had it for a while. It's a modular sofa, which I think is a great tip if you are wanting to kind of refresh your home, and instead of having to buy something new, you can buy something that's modular, so it's easier for kind of differences of use. So we've had it styled as like a half circle, as a circle. We've done it as more of a modular where we use it in different rooms. And I think one of the biggest tips I would do is a lot of people push their furniture like into the walls to make the room seem big. And although it seems kind of like counterintuitive, pulling the furniture into the room makes the room feel bigger. And it's also a great way to kind of center around conversation and being able to host versus having, you know, the furniture pushed very to the side and then place the TV in kind of the front and center aspect. So we've decided now, and I change it a lot, now it's in 2 pieces, and then to have more like comfy seating on each side. Sometimes we have little ottomans or other chairs here for more seating options. And this table is actually leftover tile from our bathroom a few apartments ago, and we made it into this table.
Awesome.
This is a great way to reuse your tile.
Now tell me about the fireplace in the corner, because I keep noticing this. I've only ever seen one of these before, and it was also in Norway.
It is an old Swedish kakkelom. It is a great fireplace. Obviously it's very grand, but it's a historical type of a fireplace that recycles heat, and so it keeps the apartment hot for about 24 hours. So it's great.
Now I know you mentioned about how, you know, you don't design with the TV in mind, but I am noticing you've got a very aesthetic looking TV there.
There is a TV here. So this was like, out of the floor plans that we were discussing the most, the hardest part was figuring out like where to do the TV. And so it was actually my little sister that figured out, because we're like, how can we do it? Like, it's gonna be like hard to watch if it's, you know, so far away. And he's like, you just do like a hidden arm in the back. And we're like, thank you. We've been spending months thinking about what to do. So you can pull it out and kind of change it into, so it goes out to about here. And that ended up being like the best way. So it's hidden, and it is a Samsung frame. So you can switch out the artwork for whatever you want. You can do original pieces, you can do your own photos, or here, a monk painting.
Perfect solution.
Yes.
Shout out little sister.
Absolutely. Shout out to my sister for thinking about the arm in the back. And the TV is also something we've had for a long time. I think buying a TV is one of the hardest pieces to like hide in design. So I really love this solution because it's more aesthetic. Okay, so now we're gonna go back through the kitchen and into the bedroom. This was a living room before. And then when we redid the floor plan, we wanted to have the bedroom this way. And I think sometimes when you're working with floor plans, it's very easy to think, okay, whenever you open the door, you want to have the bed right there and have the symmetry. We actually built it more like a hotel room. So we built kind of a freestanding wall here, and then you're able to have a walk-in closet, but it being kind of hidden. So it's not, you know, very exposed, and it's not in a separate room, which is practical. So we also wanted to keep kind of 2 entrances as you would in a hotel room. You have one entrance here, and it connects to the other side here. So that was one of the things that we wanted to do just to keep a good flow. It's a big room, so you have space to do it. And I think when you're designing a home, sometimes you think like you have to follow like very strict rules. I take a lot of design inspiration from hotels because they do kind of different room design and different floor plans. So that's definitely one of the little tricks that I used from a typical hotel room. One of my favorite paintings in our apartment is this piece right here. It's the same artist actually that painted the one in the living room, but this is a collaborative piece with another Norwegian artist called Ragnhild Næss. And this piece is actually on loan to us because it isn't for sale. This is a piece that they painted and actually fell in love together when they painted this. So they very sweetly said that this is a piece they want to keep for their kids. So we are very happy to be the stewards of this piece as long as we get to have it. It's beautiful, it's very colorful, it's a great way to wake up. You have the view outside here, and you can have a lot of sunlight, and then you also have a lot of color here. And then it was a coincidence, but the ceiling height or the ceiling color in here matches with this pretty well. So I think it's overall colorful but still neutral. So I think if you keep art, colorful. You can also have a neutral base without it becoming too beige. So that's a good tip. The guy that worked with us on the restorations, he said that he didn't think there was more than like 2 pieces of, or 2 strokes of paint in the ceiling since the time this building was made, which is crazy to think about. But all the ceilings are original. When we took over this place, the guy we bought it from had lived here for 50 years and he had been smoking quite a bit. And so when we were restoring it, there was like nicotine popping out of the walls. Like the smell was insane. Like it was yellow and it was stinky. So don't smoke. And also, yeah, it sticks into your wall and ceilings and crown moldings. So it was quite the process to get it back to its original state. So now we're in the bathroom. This is actually probably one of the floor plans that was the hardest to figure out, because this used to be the kitchen before, and the room next to us is now a guest room. That was the rest of the kitchen. And when we kind of redesigned it, we wanted the both rooms to feel spacious, and I wanted to take some of the space from the room next to it to just hide all of the cabinets within the wall. Because when you do these wall-mounted taps, you have to have the battery inside the wall. And if you're already gonna have it inside the wall, you might as well make an arch, was my thinking. So we made arches, we hid the cabinetry, we did kind of built-in taps for both the bathtub and also the sinks. So if it's something that you're thinking about having wall-mounted taps, you can also use that space for storage. So here we wanted it to be seamless, and you can recognize some of the same materials that we've used throughout. Same as the kitchen. The tile in here is the same as the kitchen counter. And then the taps have the same surface level as the ones in the kitchen as well. So if you're thinking about designing a space, think about repetition. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but as many times as you repeat kind of patterns, materials, colorways, and surface levels, the more cohesive it will seem. So that was a big thing here. I also wanted to incorporate some vintage lighting and a mix of material. I think a lot of people are scared to use more than one tile in the bathroom. Here I think we have 3, 4, something like that. As long as they have kind of the same color palette, the same undertone, don't be scared to mix and match. It's kind of what makes a space feel cohesive. So coming out of the bathroom, we're in the hallway. This room we've done quite a lot in. We actually removed the lowered ceilings in here and got, I think, 60 or 70 centimeters more of ceiling height. And then we've put in the same type of moldings that is original in other places of the apartment in here. And then also laid some Italian marble in the hallway that I love, and then continued these like taller kind of floor lists. There's also a powder room in the hallway. This is a fun room because all of the materials inside this room we actually repurposed from one of the leftovers of our previous bathroom. So both this wall right here with the 3D tile, and as you probably recognize, the same tile here as well. So we got to kind of use some of the leftover stuff. For a powder room, it's not that much you need. So it's a fun way to experiment a little bit, or to use a fun tile or a nice color. So
tell us, what's behind the door behind you?
Okay, right now it's nothing. It's not a fake door, but there is 2 entrances to this apartment. This is the back door, and it leads to the loft, which hopefully will be able to extend the apartment and buy an area of the loft, get a staircase, and build a 2nd floor to this apartment. That is our kind of current working plan. And then perhaps build a terrace so you could see the ocean.
Wow.
And the sun.
Well, if you manage to succeed, I might have to come back and see that.
I hope so. I really hope so. And also, here you can see this is the door into what was previously a bedroom, but we wanted to make this a focal point. And also I had leftover tile, so when you have leftover tile, you build a table or you build this archway. Yeah. And this is, I really like it. I think it's a little bit unusual, but again, something that you see maybe in receptions or hotels, lobbies. And it's a great way to find like inspiration for your home. Find stuff that you like in a restaurant and make your home feel a little bit more like that. So it's a good tip. If you have leftover tile, you can tile it. So now we're in the guest bedroom. So we have some extra storage here, but it also is a place for our guests when they come to stay. This is a green room. We have some green details in the bedding now too. So that's nice. Has some green artwork, but it's usually a place where family and friends come to stay. It's very important for us both to have a guest room, and perhaps if we end up purchasing the loft above us, this will be a staircase, but then we'll have more guest bedrooms upstairs if we're able to build them. I hope you enjoyed the tour of our home. If you'd like to see more, you can follow me on Instagram. My tag is Home with Mila on both TikTok and Instagram. I show my home, my interior design projects, and yeah, I'll see you there. Bye!